Hello, friends. Welcome to Aslan Speaks, and today I'm going to be talking about communicating in a relationship. And I'm going to try to make this one a short one, but for days I kept getting the feeling from Spirit to talk about somebody coming forward talking. There may be somebody in your life that wants to really communicate with you, but either you shut them out or they are shutting themselves out because you're both too stubborn to come together and communicate in a healthy, loving way and to truly listen to each other. So one of the most reasons relationships fail is because poor communication. And I've been there before, in past relationships where I didn't communicate in the healthiest way. My partner or whoever I was dealing with, maybe it'd be a friend, relative, or romantic partner, may have lashed out in an angry way, and then because they were angry, I got angry, and then I lashed out back. It's a defense mechanism. But really, what I was inspired is, like, Spirit wants me to talk about being fearful. So often, we are so fearful of speaking our truth. What if I lay all my cards on the table and this person doesn't accept me? I've been there before where, like, I wanted to communicate so badly with a person in a healthy way and just express all my emotions and feelings, but time after time, I was afraid. I was like, if I speak my truth to this person, what if they reject me? But the message of this is that you got to get rid of that fear of rejection. If somebody can't truly hear your truth and come and understand you in a loving way, then they're not meant to be in your life. But if somebody can sit down with you and you guys both can talk in a constructive way and they really hear you out and you hear them out, then it's magical. Because there's people out there, if you're watching this, maybe you want to lay all your cards on the table. Maybe you want to, because there's some people that hold back, especially in relationships. There's parts of themselves that they don't want to show, or they don't want to expose their hurt and vulnerabilities, because what if I share my hurts and vulnerabilities with this person and they use it against me, or they don't acknowledge that I'm hurting and they don't care. Well, if you're in a true romantic partner or in a good friendship, or if your family member really cares about you, they're going to put their ego aside and just truly hear you out. But some of us, like Spirit wants me to say, is gather your strength. Some of us, in order to speak our truth, to come forward, we have to isolate ourselves and do some inner healing. And if you're interested about inner healing, I have a episode on this channel about inner healing. So gather your strength. Sit down with yourself and pull out a notebook and start writing all the things you want to say to this person, or how you want to express yourself. So here are some tips for better communication. Process your feelings first. Sit down with yourself and process what you want to say. And first, before anything, guys, before anything, like before you even sit and talk with your partner or your friend or your relative, you sit with yourself and get yourself in a positive state of mind. Say, hey, today I'm going to speak with positivity and love no matter what. Even if your partner is aggressive or may lash out in anger, you're going to handle the conversation in the most positive way as you can. So always come from a loving place, guys. Get in that loving state of mind and speak lovingly, even if there's some tough topics you have to speak on. And then you can move forward from there in the conversation. So process your feelings first. Think about timing. So sometimes, like, maybe your partner comes in the door and they had a really bad day at work and they're very agitated from work, or they're feeling with anxiety, or they're just not in the right state of mind to talk to them. You'll sense it, so wait for the timing. Wait till your partner's in a calm, collected, loving mood, and then say, hey, honey, I want to talk to you. Love, can you come sit with me? And I have things I have to get off my chest. Start with I statements, like, I feel this way. And start with your feelings. Say maybe like, hey, when you did this and this, it really hurt my feelings. And you gotta say it in a way so they can understand. And if they don't understand, if you're sitting with them and they're not understanding you, try to be like, hey, call them out and be like, hey, I don't think you understand me. Relationships, the reason they fail is because nobody's understanding each other. They both hold on to their truth, and they're like, this person's not, and they don't want to relinquish that control and that communication. You have to surrender to that relationship and both come from a loving place. Focus on being heard and listening. So you both have to be heard and listen. So you speak your truth, but you also have to let your partner speak their truth. So you got to listen to them. Make compromising and resolution the goal. So before you get into the relationship, or not in the relationship, but into the conversation, make like your ultimate outcome of this communicating with your partner is compromising and resolution. You have to compromise. You can't always be like, I expect this, and this, and then not be willing to give anything in return. It's a give and take. Let me repeat that. Give and take. Set clear boundaries. I'm very crucial in this, guys. In any healthy relationship, you set clear boundaries or clear expectations. Maybe you should write them down when you're communicating with your partner and say, hey, put that healthy boundaries and expectations of both of you on a wall. So if you ever get in an argument later down the road, you say, hey, look at this piece of paper. We both agreed on these boundaries. And then hold your partner accountable. There's some people out there that will agree to certain boundaries and certain things, but then they don't follow through on their actions. Set healthy boundaries. Leave positive notes for your partner. Sometimes, when you wake up and you gotta go, just write a note and say, hey, express your feelings. Hey, I love you. Or just come from a positive place. It's awesome when you wake up and your partner leaves a little note saying, hey, I love cuddling up next to you last night. You're amazing. I'm so grateful for having you in my life. And then daily check in with your partner. So on a regular basis, on a daily basis, so maybe every day, set time aside and try to communicate your feelings and emotions with your partner. It doesn't necessarily have to be every day, but if every day you communicate the things that are on your chest, then they're not gonna build up, because most relationships, we don't speak our truth in them, and then guess what? We hold on to all that, and then and then all those feelings and emotions that you bury inside of you build up, and then eventually what happens is then we can't hold on to that energy or that emotion anymore, and then we lash out, or like I said before, we communicate in an unhealthy way. We just lash out and argue and dump everything on your partner in an unloving way. And then your partner's like, holy crap, where did all this come from? And then they react where, hey, this person's being hostile towards me, so I have to be hostile back. Or they just don't understand because you're communicating in an aggressive way or anger, and then they don't understand it, so they put up that wall, and they're not going to listen to somebody who's just dumping pile after pile of blame, shame, guilt, or all these emotions on them. So if you could just set aside daily, just check in with your partner. Just go up to your partner on a daily basis and like, hey, how are you feeling today? Is there anything you want to speak to me? Or is there anything you want to say to me? So daily check in through your partners. And some of us don't like to talk. Some of us like to go into our own world. But if you really love somebody, even if it's a friend, partner, or relative, check in with them. It may be hard at first, but once you start that daily routine or habit, it'll work. Like if you have a friend and then you're, just checking in with them. Hey, I haven't talked to you in a while. Are you okay? Is there anything you want to say? And say, hey, I'm willing to listen with open ears and an open mind. So I already talked about set time for a day to daily talk. Express yourself. You guys gotta express yourselves. So many of us don't express it. So we hold it on, hold into it, hold. If you could just let go, you know, you would like. So I'll use an example. Like I was in a really romantic relationship, like on and off for like 10 years, and one of the first things that we both couldn't. We were young and dumb, and we did not communicate in a healthy way. I didn't know what was going on with my partner, and they didn't really know what was going on with me, and we just assumed and assumed. And then we would just like throw our baggage at them and they throw their baggage at me, and then nothing got solved. Yeah, sorry guys, I'm nervous for about talking here. But then we just sat down one day and we truly just in a loving way just told us everything. And she actually came to me and explained that there was former partners in her life that were holding her back, and that she didn't have a place to live, and that basically that she was still trapped in a former relationship. And it made all this sense to me because I'm like, well, that's why we're not working, because you're still trapped in this toxic abusive relationship, and you keep going back to them because you're because of the trauma bond. But when she sat down and actually told me everything, it was just like a load just been lifted, and then when I sat down and just like, here, this is what I truly feel. And then we came together after that conversation, and just we truly just loved each other, and we were willing to move any mountain for each other. And so it's really just, you gotta let it all go. So many people, like, they don't know how to communicate, or just they don't want to hold on to, or they hold on to all that stuff's trapped inside them, and they don't express it in a healthy way. So like it just causes them to hurt themselves or feel pain all the time. If you want to release it, you got to release that energy. And that's like, speak to your partner. Maybe when you guys have amazing partners in your life, or that amazing friend, or that amazing relative, and just speak your truth to them unconditionally. That's really important. It's super important. You got to release it. And somebody really loves you, they're going to listen to you. Like for me, I'm a loving person. And yes, sometimes I'm not, like if I'm in an agitated state, or if my partner is communicating with me in like an aggressive battle tactic communication, then I don't want to listen to them. Like I put up that wall, and I'm like, no, I will not accept this, because you're coming from a place of non-love. But if you sat down and just really just came in from a loving place, talk about trust issues. Like in past relationships, I had trust issues because I'm an empath. I could sense when people are not being truthful or dishonest, or if they're wearing that mask. And sometimes in relationships, they put up that mask because they don't want to show you that they're vulnerable. They don't want to show you their insecurities, or they don't want to show you that some of their behavior is shady. And they may think that their behavior is normal, but in a normal, loving relationship, everybody's committed to each other 100%. They're not pursuing other stuff that is detrimental to the relationship, that they're not pursuing things or people or doing behaviors that can self-sabotage the relationship. Also pick up on nonverbal cues. So like sometimes your partner may go off in the corner or just be quiet and shut down. And you gotta pick up on that nonverbal cue and be like, love, honey, babe, what is wrong? And maybe you have to just sit there and be like, if they say I don't want to talk and don't want to talk, or I don't want to say anything, then you gotta respect their boundaries. But if you come up to them in a loving way and be like, babe, I love you to the moon and back, and I'm willing to listen to everything you have to say. Take all that weight and hurt inside you, or all those suppressed emotions, and dump them on me, because we can handle it together. Conversation is a two-way street. Yes, conversation is a two-way street. So you got to look at also your relationship, whatever it may be, through the perspective of your partner. And be like, so when you speak, don't be just talking for an hour. Speak for a couple of minutes and then pause yourself and and ask your partner, is there anything you want to communicate with me? Also tell them what they need from you or what you need from them. In relationships, like one of the other reasons we fail is because we're not mind readers. We're human beings, and when you don't communicate what you need from them, or like maybe you're in a where you're like a friendship slash romantic relationship, but you're trying to keep it as friends. And the problem is you're like, well, you don't want to communicate. You're not communicating to your partner, right? So they're thinking, hey, they putting me in the friend zone because they don't want to be with me. But maybe it's not that at all. Maybe it's, hey, I can't do friends right now because I don't feel ready to fully commit to this relationship because I have work to do. And I don't want to come to this relationship empty handed. So I want to work on building up my bank account, getting a new car, or working on myself, or working up to do the inner healing on myself, so that when I come into this relationship, that I can lay all my cards on the table and be a true partner to you. So many people don't express that. And then just get rid of the lying, guys. Some of us tell mistruths, or because we're afraid to tell our partner or a person or a friend or relative the truth. Because if you speak your truth and then they reject you or shame you or blame you, or they may even hurt you even more, so we're fearful. But if you have a loving person in your life, if they're your life partner, if they said those vows in marriage to be in your life forever, then come to your person and be like, hey, this is the truth. Don't bend it, nothing. Just speak your truth. And you both speak your truth. So that's all I wanted to say to you guys is just communicating communicate with your partner. Because the reason most people fail and they have to go to this partner and that partner and stuff, or always end up lonely, is because poor communication. And if you're in that situation where you have a really difficult time communicating, then go to a couple therapy. Swallow your pride, go to couples therapy, and then you could have like a referee or to kind of help you guide you guys to communicate better with each other, or a life coach. If you guys heal the communication in your relationship, and then and communicate in a better way, because a lot of us, we don't communicate in a way that your partner understands. So there's a lot of misconceptions. So, and then another thing, stop communicating in text. When you text your partner 5 long pages, stop it. Call your partner and talk to him on the phone, or if you can't do that, say, hey, we need to talk person to person. You can't, through a text message, you can't understand like their feelings or their emotions or their energy behind their voice. So from now on, say, hey, every time we talk, we have to sit down with each other. We have to face each other. That's one of the best, healthiest ways. You got to sit down face to face with your partner. They may be hurting on the inside and are very extremely sad, but you don't know because you're texting them and you're calling them and they're hiding everything from you because they don't want to show you their vulnerability. So communication is key, my friends. I hope this video was helpful. God bless you. Like and share. And also do research. You got the I'm getting tongue-tied, guys. You got the internet. You got books. There's tons of self-help books. There's tons of self-help documentaries out there. If you really love your partner and want to work on the connection, then start educating yourself on how you could show up better and better for your person. God bless you, my friends. Good luck.